The tiny fern that changed the world. Sounds a bit dramatic, right? But what if I told you it's actually true? Today, we're diving into the story of a plant so powerful it literally shaped the climate of our entire planet. It's a wild tale, so let's just jump right in.
So, let me just start with a big question for you. What if one plant, just one, could help feed the world and cool the planet? Sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, doesn't it? Well, what if I told you this plant is very, very real?
So here it is. Meet our unlikely hero, Azolla. It's this tiny little floating fern. You've probably seen something like it in a pond or a slow-moving stream and not thought twice about it. It gets the nickname Mosquito fern because it can cover the water surface so densely that people figured it must stop mosquitoes from laying their eggs there.
Okay, get ready for this number. 1.9 days. Seriously, let that sink in. Under the right conditions, that is all the time it takes for Azolla to double its entire mass. That growth rate is, well, it's almost unbelievable.
And that explosive growth looks like this. You can see how a pond or a paddy can just be completely transformed into this thick, green, almost velvety carpet in just a few weeks. So how on earth does it do it? Well, the secret, it's a very powerful partnership.
To get a handle on Azolla's superpower, you've got to understand symbiosis. It's a key concept in nature. It's basically a mutually beneficial relationship where two totally different organisms team up and live together, helping each other out.
And Azolla, it is an absolute master of this. You see, tucked away inside these tiny little pockets in its leaves, there's a microscopic passenger. It's a cyanobacterium called Nostoc azolli. And this tiny little partner, this is the source of all of Azolla's incredible power.
So the deal they have is actually pretty simple and kind of elegant. The fern provides a safe, cozy home for the bacteria inside its leaves. And in return, the bacteria does something pretty much magical. It literally pulls nitrogen gas right out of the air we breathe, which, by the way, most plants can't do, and turns it into a ready-to-use fertilizer for the fern. So think about what this means. This unique partnership turns Azolla into, well, a floating, self-sufficient fertilizer factory. It's incredible. It makes its own food from the sun, just like other plants, but it also makes its own fertilizer from the air. That's what makes it one of the most productive plants on the entire planet.
All right, so this plant has many talents, from being a superfood to a super fertilizer. And this amazing ability isn't just some cool scientific fact. No. For more than 1,000 years, people have figured out some really amazing ways to put this plant to work.
I mean, look at this list. It's a true agricultural jack-of-all-trades. We're talking animal feed, biofertilizer, suppressing weeds, controlling mosquitoes, even cleaning up polluted water through something called bioremediation. It does it all.
But let's just zoom in on animal feed for a second. Check out this number, 25 to 35%. That's the protein content of Azolla on a dry weight basis. For a plant, that is an incredibly high number.
And to really put that into perspective for you, that's a protein level that's comparable to meat. I'm not kidding. This makes it an amazing, sustainable, and cheap superfood for livestock. It's a total game changer, especially for farmers who are looking for organic feed options.
And hey, this isn't just theory. This is happening right now, all over the world. You've got small-scale farmers cultivating Azolla in these simple pits to feed their cattle, their pigs, their chickens. It's a low-cost, organic solution that just works.
I love this quote from the folks at Milkwood Permaculture. It just sums it up perfectly. It's a little bit like free energy and highly regenerative as a system component. Think about it, because it makes its own fertilizer out of thin air. Growing it really is like tapping into free energy. It becomes this amazing self-sustaining part of the farm.
But, maybe the most genius use of Azolla is in rice farming. This is a technique that's been used for centuries in Asia. Farmers let Azolla grow on the surface of their flooded rice paddies. First, that dense mat blocks the sunlight so weeds can't grow. Then, as the bacteria inside the Azolla fixes nitrogen, it's basically fertilizing the rice plants for free. And when the Azolla eventually dies, it releases all that rich nitrogen into the water. It's this beautiful natural system that reduces the need for chemical fertilizers. Just brilliant.
So, we've talked about all the good stuff. But here's the twist. That same superpower, that incredible explosive growth, it has a dark side. So is Azolla a friend or a foe? Well, when it's managed, it's a hero. But when it gets out of control, it can quickly become the villain of the story.
This is what we call the Azolla paradox.
On one hand, with managed growth, it's amazing. It provides nutrients, supports the ecosystem, feeds livestock. But on the other hand, when it becomes an invasive spreader, it does the complete opposite. It depletes oxygen, it can kill aquatic life, and it clogs up entire waterways.
Yeah, when it's left unmanaged, its growth can just choke out an entire waterway. It forms a mat so thick that no sunlight can get through, which kills off all the plants below. Then, when all that Azolla starts to die and decompose, the process sucks all the oxygen out of the water. This creates a dead zone, where fish and everything else simply can't survive.
So this whole friend or foe thing is fascinating, right? But believe it or not, that story pales in comparison to the role this tiny fern played on a global scale millions of years ago. We're about to get into Azolla's incredible origin story, and trust me, it's a big one.
So the key to all this power, it goes back to a single unique genetic event that happened about 80 million years ago. Scientists discovered that an ancestor of Azolla had a complete duplication of its entire genome. It's like it got a whole spare set of its own blueprints. And this fluke gave it the tools to do something no other plant has ever managed to do: pass its little bacteria friend directly down to its offspring.
Okay, so this new ability, this set the stage for something huge. Fast forward with me to 49 million years ago. The Earth was a total hothouse, way warmer than today. The Arctic Ocean, it was basically a giant, warm freshwater lake. And for about 800,000 years, something incredible happened. This entire ocean was covered in massive blooms of Azolla. Generation after generation, the ferns would bloom, die, and then sink to the bottom, taking all the carbon they'd pulled from the air with them. They just kept doing this over and over, burying massive amounts of carbon on the seafloor. This process pulled so much CO2 out of the atmosphere that it helped flip a switch on the planet's climate. It helped shift Earth from a hot greenhouse world to the cooler icehouse world that eventually allowed us to evolve. Let that just sink in for a second. This single, tiny plant, a fern you can literally hold in the palm of your hand, played a major role in shaping the global climate we all live in today. I mean, that is one of the most powerful stories in the entire history of life on Earth.
And all of that, it leads us to one final, really big question. This tiny fern helped cool the planet once. So now, in a warming world, could it help us again? Could we harness this incredible power to capture carbon and fight climate change? That's the question scientists are wrestling with right now. And it's a question that might just shape our future.